Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and it is that time of year again. It is time for Game of Shrooms. And if you're not familiar with Game of Shrooms, it's a hide and seek art event that's worldwide. So there's a gentleman by the name of Attaboy, and I can link his social networking sites. I will also link the page for Game of Shrooms if you want to sign up. Basically this year it's happening June 10th, and artists from all over the world are going to hide their original mushroom themed artworks in public places and then give hints on social media for others to find them and keep, which is very, very cool. It's a very fun thing to do. So it's kind of like an adult Easter egg hunt that celebrates, unexpected surprises. And this began in 2019. And now our artists all over the world, even more so, are creating stuff and hiding it. And I will throw up pictures of some I've done. I did stones that I had in my backyard. I did petrified wood. I purchased little pieces from one of our gem and mineral shops. And then last year I did bricks from our backyard. And this year, again, because I did a no-buy art supply, so I was doing a lot of things, found items. This year I'm doing a low-buy art supply, and every year after. So I am going to be doing seashells. And these are ones that we have found at our beach. And I'm not sure how many I'm going to paint. This is definitely the smallest size. And I have a bunch to choose from. Well, this one's the smallest of the smallest. And I haven't even looked outside. We have a bunch that are just sitting outside, and sometimes I put them in our garden beds because of the calcium. So far I have 6. And my whole process for this is sort of to figure out what surface I'm going to use. And I really like doing non-traditional surfaces. We have a lot of humidity and moisture. And last year, even though it was in June last year, as it is this year, it was raining. So everything kind of has to be more durable than paper. Now, I have, the paint I use is an all-surface craft paint. And this is from my local craft store. Some of these are in better shape than others. I may be running low on colors. I cut some of these to make them easier to transport around, but you can see it was a wide variety of set here that I use. So here's the ivory, and you can see it's almost, boys, almost empty. So you know what I think I'm gonna do? I have my low-buy art supply shopping list, and I'm just gonna add multi-surface craft paint to my list and make a note, Game of Shrooms. So this will be, sorry, it's right here. I wrote it right off camera. That's so typical. I have a running list going for my low buy to make sure that I stay, within budget and things. But I just want to make sure that I'm set up good for next year as well. I may do some larger things. So this will be my 4th year doing it. I took off 2020. I wasn't doing anything that year except just relaxing and homeschooling and trying to figure all that stuff out. So first thing I need to do is assess supplies. And again, some of these look fine. They just need to be shaken up. Some of these look really low. And I'm just going to have to make use with what I have. So this ivory, it's okay that I'm almost out because the color of the seashells is ivory. So I can let that peek through without having to use that color, sort of like a colored substrate. Oh my gosh, can you hear a bird chirping in my video? I am like 90% sure there is a bird trying to make a nest in our rain gutter right outside my office windows. Oh no, don't make poor life choices. Okay, so assessing the situation on some of these, let's look at the pure white here, which will make a great highlight. That's really low as well. That's really washed out in the camera. Let's see how gray's looking. Gray's pretty full. Some of these are pretty full, so I might pick up just some colors that I use more often until I can use up some more of these. I mean, it's really hard to use up teal when painting mushrooms if you're trying to make them realistic. There just aren't a lot that color. So, figured out my surface, assessing my supplies. Now my paintbrushes are older. The newest paintbrushes I purchased was at the end, I believe it was December 2020. I think I have a really old video. Anyway, so some of these have been used for painting on brick, and the bristles are pretty tired, but I think that's okay for painting on shells. Working this small, it's going to be a small brush. I'm probably going to need magnifying glasses, and then I think I still need to scrub these up a little bit more. Make sure they're nice and clean before I get to working on here. But you know what I need to do is I need to lay out some illustrations and figure out, these are the illustrations from last year, like my pre-sketches. So you can see like where it starts and where it ends. I have a series of videos that shows every step of the process in like 10-minute format because I didn't have editing software last year. But you can see that I was going through different ideas. I really wanted to incorporate a tiger with mushrooms and have a moth and a koi, some sort of koi fish. So this is a Midori A4. I have a video that I will link that shows what the different pens look like. Which one's Ghost, which one's Bleed with the Midori paper. I really like it. It's a very smooth surface. It is very ivory. So if you like your paper super white, this may not be the right sketchbook for you. I just want to, I'm just gonna sort of trace around the shape. So I can see what I can fit on the page, so to speak, what I can fit on this surface, because some of it might be like up in there, and that's going to be a little bit trickier. But I want to incorporate, because these are seashell, which is very like aquatic themed, I want to incorporate more aquatic things with the mushrooms. So I may have one where it's just, let me zoom in real quick. Okay, that's a little bit better. Here's my shell. I may have one, and I really need to think about how I can use this shape and this design in a flattering way that really accentuates the fact that it's a seashell. But it might be fun to have some sort of like octopus with arms coming around. And again, these are just loose sketches so I can see what I'm doing here. There could be one. Boy, my desk feels really crowded today. It may be time for a desk clean. Let's see, I make notes. Octopus, squid, fish, seahorse. There's also like the dragon leaf seahorse. Starfish, different things found in the sea. I could do things that are on land, like seals or sea lion. I could do birds, like sandpiper. Let's see what else are really great seabirds. Okay, so I could do like a puffin. Those are fun. Pelican. I could do birds on every single one. Like a bird sitting on a mushroom. If it's just the mushroom top. and there's a bird. How would I do that? What's the best way to do this? Like a sandpiper sitting on here? Well, I really don't know how they fold up their legs though. I would have to research that. He kind of looks like a kiwi bird, doesn't he? And then figure out, you know, what kind of, because this is a white background, any mushroom that isn't white would look okay on this surface. So I could really get away with some of the brighter ones like the amethyst. There's some blue mushrooms. There's the red-capped mushroom. Let's see. I could do like local sea life and have this be completely themed to my area. We don't have puffins where I live, so that probably wouldn't be the best bird, but we do have seagulls. And that might look really cute. Each one could be a different bird. Let's see, how else would I draw a bird and a mushroom? I wouldn't want them to look like they don't belong together. I would want them to look like they... So if I did one and there was like a mushroom in the background, it might look like two separate elements just overlapped. It may not look like they belong. You know, like it might have to all be birds sitting on mushrooms, or it could be... Let's make him a little bigger. This is how I sketch out ideas. It looks just like this, or little mushrooms growing out of the bird. Like maybe he's sat so long that he's become one with nature. So that's a possibility. Oh, you know what I could do? Oh boy, this is kind of dark. I could do a skull of a bird, like a bird's skull. Like here would be the eye socket, and here would be the head. I'd really have to do some research to make sure that looks anatomically correct, and then have mushrooms growing out of a bird's skull. It's kind of a dark, but it might be really beautiful. Sort of death is a beginning, it's the end and the beginning, you know, like the circle of life kind of thing. Might look really cool on a seashell. It's a thought. And that's just kind of like what the brainstorm process is. Just thoughts. I mean, I could do, boy, I could add a shark to this list. I do love sharks. Or whales. The trick would be, how do I do, would it be like a whale head? Or a fish head? And then mushrooms coming out of the fish head underwater? Like this whole thing could be underwater. There could be mushrooms everywhere. And then bubbles. So you really get the sense that we're still underwater. That's a thought too. Boy, lots and lots of ideas, huh? But I do think it should be something aquatic since they're seashells. And this is one of the less porous surfaces that I will have painted on for this challenge, which should be nice. I mean, working small doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take less time. It just means I'm going to be with my glasses trying to zoom in and figure out what I'm doing with my life. It could be that, you know, the mushrooms take center stage. I do like things in threes. I don't know about you, but threes is such a visually satisfying. And there could be like seabirds in the distance, you know, flying. There could be ocean waves. And it could be a little mini landscape. That is a possibility. Oh, you know what I could do? I do love animals. I absolutely love animals. So don't get me wrong, this is probably going to end up being all animals on these seashells. But it would be really cool to have like a ship of some sort. Do I know how to draw a ship? There's like a mast. Oh, it's a sailboat. Okay, so I'm doing a generic sailboat, but you get the idea. And mushrooms growing out of a sailboat out to sea. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh gosh, you know what I could do? Welcome to my brain. Welcome to Kendra's brain. Okay. I could do little tiny mushroom people. This is like one of those more bulbous mushrooms. The cute little cheeks. And maybe they have little polka dots or something. And make it look like a skirt. These can be little mushroom people. That could be really cute. Like a mushroom baby. Little mushroom people. Everybody likes little mushroom folks. It's not very aquatic themed though. I mean, I could have it be like a school of fish. And it could just be like an underwater little landscape. Oh gosh, that fish is having a bad day. You know, with the sea lettuce. And apparently mushrooms. Going on like you find under the sea. Oh. All right, so this is my little fish under the sea. That's an idea. I have enough notes here. I think if I did, this would have to be for one of the bigger seashells. He's pretty big. Like a seahorse here. And they got the things. And they got the things. A seahorse. The thing is, the mushroom shape sort of reaffirms the seashell shape. So I need to think about those two shapes mirroring each other and make sure that I make it sort of symmetrical. We could do little bubbles. Just to add visual interest so the weight isn't more on one side than the other too much, if that makes sense. Like, it's one thing to have a square shape and be drawing really round sort of teardrop mushrooms, but it's another thing to be doing like a teardrop shape and drawing teardrop mushrooms. It reaffirms the shape of the shell. So I need to make sure whatever animal I go to put on here really stands out and breaks up the pattern repetition. And then the other thing would be like color. And I could do hyper-realistic color to the color of seahorses. I could do complementary colors or sort of cartoon brighter neon colors. I could do the teal and make the mushrooms like, I don't have like a pink, but I could make one and really have them be bright and vibrant, or I can have them be muted. They'll probably have to be sealed though. I imagine that if you scraped the paint off the shell with your nail, that the paint would then come up. So folks would probably have to keep these indoors or seal them with some sort of polyurethane. It's There's just all these things to consider when drawing and creating and making things, especially on non-traditional surfaces like seashells. I have a video where I paint and draw on seashells, and I can link that one too if you're interested. It's a very unique, it's sort of a calcified surface. So when you go to find seashells to create on, you have to make sure that they're not flaking or chipping, because the illustration could then flake or chip off. And that's not something you want, especially if it's meant to be something that's long-term and kept. I mean, these are just free pieces of art I'm putting out into the community, but I want them to last for people who find them. I want them to enjoy them for years if they can, or if they choose to. And if you choose to do this, if you'd like to participate in Game of Shrooms, anybody can participate. You could pick any surface, you could do anything. Tons and tons of countries are participating. I'll link the webpage. There's a huge map. So when I look on it this year, and I'll show you some photos, I see you New Zealand, Australia, Japan, South Korea. It looks like Egypt, Morocco's showing up. So you got Northern Africa, somebody in Cape Town, very Southern Africa. Italy, Norway's participating, Ireland, tons and tons of countries in Europe. The United States, Canada. Oh, somebody in Colombia. We have Mexico. We have South America. This is fantastic. Argentina. So if you don't want to make any art or hide any art in your community, you can check the map and go find some art. It's a great way to start an art collection or just have a piece of art from someone in your area for free. And it's a kind of a fun activity to do. Get the family involved. It's all ages. Enjoy looking and finding things and hiding and seeking stuff. So I just need to figure out what I'm going to do. I mean, I could full on sort of, like, what is she drawing now? I could full on penguin. I guess they come more to points, don't they? And the penguin could have mushrooms. We don't have penguins where I live. That's not a thing we get, but they're definitely a very cute bird. And they have the darkened, depending on what type of penguin it is, right? There's so many different types. I mean, I could do a bird in the sky flying. Boy, these rough sketches are rough. And from there, they could have mushroom. It could have a mushroom in its mouth. I know they typically fly, a lot of seabirds fly around with crabs or fish in their mouth. That one could have a mushroom. I could do, you know what I could do? You don't, I'm going to show you. Okay. I could do something that is more like a motif where it's like a decorative symmetrical pattern. Sort of like folk art, but mushrooms. Do you know what I'm saying? So it looks more designed. The illustration looks more designed. And then there could be like a mushroom in the middle, where it kind of has like a little Nouveau, Art Nouveau whiplash going on. And then a mushroom in the middle, and it could just be a mushroom of mushrooms. I mean, these could all be mushroom studies of different types of mushrooms where I color match and make sure these are all realistic and have mushrooms on each one, and each one could be a mushroom from our area. So North American mushrooms. And if you're into mycology, or you're into foraging, that could be a great fun thing to have, you know, create art that also helps scientifically identify things. I mean, it could be nothing but poisonous, so you could do like death cap mushrooms, and then it can be sort of a warning. What you could do, or what I could do, what someone could do, could be an absolute poisonous seashell. And it could be, so it could be a death cap, right? And those are kind of a little greenish. And then it could be surrounded by poison ivy, which leaves of 3 leave it be, right? Especially if they're shiny. And it can have, it could be a whole thing of poisonous stuff, mushroom and ivy, which could be a fun sort of idea, like sort of a beware piece of art, identifying and showing folks things to be wary of and careful of. It's, what is it, the curse of the little brown mushroom? A lot of mushrooms are small and brown, and they all look the same, and a lot of them aren't edible, and a few of them are. So I suggest if you decide to take up foraging and like eating and snacking on what you find, that you make sure you take classes, talk to people, go with someone, get library books. But sketching mushrooms on shells is super fun. So I'm just trying to think. I don't know that a starfish, you know, they kind of have the little design on them. Like if it's a tide pool, are we doing a tide pool under the water and there's mushrooms on top? Tide pools are very cool. You got tide pools and you got vernal pools. And those are by like rivers and creeks and stuff that can create vernal pools. But you could totally do like a whole habitat, aquatic environment, whatever you're interested in studying. I mean, this is just seashells, but really anything works. I'm really hung up on that, on that shape. Because there's kind of like a lip here, so I need to make sure that I account for everything when I go to put this down and create. And as it gets closer, I will show you in a video my finished seashells if you want to see them. It is a very, very slow, painstaking process when you work with something small with a very small paintbrush. It's just not fast. It's not the most, I mean, I could put it on like 10 times speed so you could watch it, but my head tends to get in the way of the camera when I'm leaning in close with my magnifying glasses to make sure that I'm getting all the fine details and stuff. These are 10 magnified. I got these on Amazon a while back, and it really helps for doing miniatures. I don't have to hold like a lens when I'm trying to draw. Let's see. Oh, you know what I could do? Okay. Like a bird nest. So there's like sticks, and there can be eggs in this bird nest. There can be a bird flying back to the bird nest. We see you. We know you're coming. And then there could be like mushrooms growing out of the bird nest. This whole thing could be totally all birds. I just need to figure out what I want to do that sounds the most fun. Like, it's so much fun to paint purple octopuses. Like, I can't even tell you why. It just is. Maybe it's just purple. Purple's a fun color to work with. I have half a tub here, so I could totally do some purple mushrooms if I wanted to. So these are the ideas. This is the surface I have. As you can see, I put together a list really quickly in case I draw a blank or I want to sketch out some more things, if I want to figure out different sea birds. And then I could even write the name. I probably won't do any hand lettering on here, but if hand lettering is your jam, or calligraphy is something you're really, really into, naming things and identifying them could be a lot of fun. There's just a lot of things that can be done on a seashell, it turns out. So there's over 15 ideas here of things that I could potentially do. Have them underwater, over water, on things, under things, through things. That could get dark. I don't know that I'll do that. Skulls are really fun to paint. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I end up with. It's always fun to do. Like, the thing that I have to remember with this is I tend to want to make art that I want, but this isn't for me. This is for others in the community. So I need to remember to create art my community will want and subject matter that they will find interesting or cool or attractive or fun to have in their house, or, you know, throw these back in their garden. So I need to figure some of that out and remind myself of something like that, because this is a thing that I'm not keeping that's going to be gifted. What does potentially the community want to have? And maybe I get weird with it. We'll see. I'll show you what I end up with when I'm done, because I'll just be excited, and I love sharing things, so I'm excited. But this is how I get started, so definitely check out the webpage. Again, it's June 10th this year, which that's a Saturday. Most people hide them early in the morning. Most people give clues on Instagram. Instagram is free to sign up for. It's so much fun to geocache and look for free art in the community. I don't participate in that element. I just love making art and hiding art for others. There's about 3 or 4 of us in this area. And in 2019, there was a lot more, but now it's kind of down to businesses and me. So I don't know. I want to make more. I typically only make 3. So I'm hoping if I double the amount, then more people can have an opportunity to have a free piece of art and enjoy that. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. I just kind of changed up the video format for this video. I need to get started on these, and I figured if this is a process that I would be doing on my own, you may want to see it in a video, even if you're just going to be hunting and looking for free art in your area. It's so much fun. Just, you know, grab a friend, grab a family member, hunt for some free art on June 10th. I hope your week is absolutely wonderful, and I will talk to you later. Bye.